Thomas David Carr was born March 6, 1846, as the fourth son among 5 boys and 3 girls in his family. His father, William Carr, was known for being harsh and abusive towards him during his upbringing. In his early years, the family moved throughout West Virginia, residing in various places such as Woods Run and Fulton before finally settling in North Wheeling. Thomas, growing up amidst this instability, exhibited a troublesome nature, frequently engaging in street fights with other children. He fell into unsavory company and took on odd jobs for river workers, brickyard laborers, and coal miners. In 1854, he found himself imprisoned under mysterious circumstances. Carr later claimed an association with John H. Burns and Oscar Myers, who were involved in the murder of a woman named Mary Montoni. Burns had received a death sentence, while Myers was imprisoned for life. During a visit to the prison, Carr attempted to give poison to Burns to end his life, but Burns did not have the courage to use it. Shortly after this incident, Carr's family relocated again, this time to Belmont County in Ohio. At the age of 16, Carr enlisted in the 16th Ohio Infantry, serving a brief 3-month stint in West Virginia. He then signed up for a 3-year term with the 18th Ohio Infantry, and upon its expiration, he enlisted in another division. Throughout his military service, Carr faced frequent arrests due to misconduct and was twice sentenced to execution for breaching regulations. On one occasion, he was even compelled to dig his own grave. However, President Abraham Lincoln showed compassion towards Carr, ultimately pardoning him from his sentence. Carr's confession detailed a series of harrowing events. The first murder he admitted to occurred near Virginia's Greenleaf Mountain. Carr, having strayed from his regiment to indulge in drinking, encountered a citizen in the woods who attempted to apprehend him. In response, Carr drew his gun and fatally shot the man in the left breast before fleeing. The victim succumbed to his injuries the following day. Shortly after, while imprisoned in Columbia, South Carolina, Carr, accompanied by 2 comrades from the 14th Ohio Infantry, participated in the strangulation of Edward Beringer upon learning of his intent to join the Confederate States Army. Upon release, Carr re-enlisted in the 18th Ohio Infantry and was later discharged to Mississippi. There, he confessed to shooting 2 rebel soldiers, one while on picket duty. Transitioning to the 4th Ohio Infantry, Carr's service remained relatively uneventful, except for an incident where he shot at Annie Wallen, a prostitute he had connections with in Clarksburg. Joining the 180th Ohio Infantry afterwards, Carr claimed he was obstructed by Dr. L. Voorhees, which Voorhees denied. During the Battle of Franklin, Carr alleged killing and robbing 2 men. Subsequently, in Wilmington, North Carolina, at Wise's Forks, he ambushed and killed an unsuspecting rebel sergeant, stealing the man's clothes. Another confessed murder involved a soldier from the 84th Ohio Infantry, whom Carr had been assigned to guard, eventually killing him as he attempted to escape. Carr also claimed involvement in a gang of 11 men raiding a sutler shop in Petersburg, Virginia, resulting in the owner's fatal beating during the robbery. In a disturbing account near Raleigh, North Carolina, Carr, among a group of 15 soldiers, discovered a Federal soldier hanged by Confederates in a prominent Southern planter's residence. Enraged, they burned down the house, leaving only the women inside. Carr then shot a man attempting to break into a house he was guarding in Raleigh. Additionally, he callously threw a waiter overboard from a steamer traveling from Morehead City to Fort Monroe after being refused food. In Baltimore, Maryland, Carr attempted to evade fare payment on a streetcar, resulting in a violent altercation, causing severe injuries to the conductor and the fatal stabbing of the driver by Carr. Escaping by blending into the crowd and altering his appearance, he committed another heinous act in Newark, Ohio, hurling a bottle at a random stranger, inflicting a severe head injury before escaping on a train full of soldiers. Upon his return to Wheeling, Carr resumed working initially for James Sweeney in a brickyard and later under James Bodley until May 1867. On a particular night, he absconded from work and the following morning encountered a German traveler named Joseph Isley while wandering around town. Isley, arriving from Parkersburg on a steamboat named Express and leaving his belongings aboard, requested Carr's help in murdering his companion, a fellow German named Alois Ulrich. While journeying along the Hempfield railroads, Isley attacked Ulrich from behind with a hatchet. Fearing for his own safety, Carr struck Ulrich with a rock, after which Isley ultimately killed him with the hatchet. After the killing, they rifled through Ulrich's pockets, discovering a significant sum in francs and paper currency. They divided the spoils, with Carr receiving the larger portion, and parted ways. Carr claimed later to have spotted Isley at Pemberton House, seemingly reveling in his newfound wealth. However, troubled by the murder, Carr contemplated surrendering, fearing Isley might implicate him after the coroner's inquest. Yet, that scenario never unfolded, and Carr never crossed paths with Isley again. Haunted by the murder, Carr contemplated disposing of the money, but instead sought solace by joining the Methodist Episcopal Church under the guidance of Reverend Ball. Initially finding comfort and encouragement from the people around him, Carr's unease grew, causing him to talk in his sleep out of fear of exposure. Consequently, he made a firm decision to depart from Wheeling, resolving never to return. Carr returned to Belmont County, encountering 13-year-old Louisa Catherine Fox in Seaswellsville, where she worked at the residence of Alexander Hunter, a coal mine owner, employing both Carr and Louisa. Immediately, Carr developed an intense infatuation with the young girl. Despite Louisa and her parents rejecting his advances, insisting she was too young for marriage, Carr persisted, attempting to persuade her parents into arranging their union. Rebuffed and infuriated by their refusal, he harbored a dark resolve to end Louisa's life. Stealing a razor from Alexander Williams' shoe shop, Carr fabricated a tale to Louisa, claiming her parents wanted her to visit her grandparents. Despite Louisa's repeated rejections, Carr, consumed by rage and intoxicated after drinking 4 bottles of hard cider, plotted her demise. Initially planning to wait by a tree, Carr then sought a gun, visiting 2 houses in vain before tracking Louisa along the road with her brother Willie. Concealing himself behind a fence, Carr engaged Louisa in conversation, both parties becoming emotional. Despite Louisa's insistence that they couldn't marry due to her parents' disapproval, Carr manipulated the situation, coercing her to walk with him towards a ravine. As they conversed, Louisa expressed her anguish, wishing for an end to her problems. Driven by a chilling determination, Carr callously slashed Louisa's neck multiple times with the stolen razor, inflicting severe wounds before leaving her mortally wounded. Fleeing and considering self-harm near a white oak tree, Carr's intent turned towards further violence against Mrs. Hunter. Realizing he was pursued after Willie informed his father, Carr frantically sought a firearm, requesting one from various households under the pretense of hunting rabbits. Finally armed, he retraced his steps, encountering a group of people around the murder scene, including doctors attending to Louisa. Despite feeling remorse and contemplating paying respects to Louisa's body, Carr, overwhelmed by misery, sought refuge in a nearby bank until morning. At dawn the next day, Carr emerged from the bank and returned to his hideout, opting to observe the surroundings for a while. Contemplating the idea of revisiting the house to see Louisa's body, he grew apprehensive about the crowd's size and the possibility of being noticed. Instead, he devised a plan using his handkerchief to secure his gun, setting it on a rafter with the muzzle aimed at his heart. He arranged a string to trigger the gun, aiming for an instant fatal shot when pulled. As Carr yanked the string, the bullet lodged into his chest, slightly left of his heart. Falling backwards, he checked to see if the bullet had exited, discovering it hadn't. He then rose and walked 30 to 40 yards to a nearby spring where he quenched his thirst. Shortly after, hearing screams of "Murder, murder," belonging to the Foxes, he reacted impulsively, grabbing the stolen razor and slashing his throat before plunging it into his windpipe, nearly severing it. Overwhelmed by the rapid blood loss, Carr lost consciousness. Despite the severity of his self-inflicted injuries, he survived and was promptly brought to court. In June 1869, Carr faced trial and received a guilty verdict for the murder of Louisa Fox, resulting in a death sentence. During the appeal process, Carr attempted another suicide by cutting one of his veins. On the day of his scheduled execution, Carr displayed readiness to face death. While waiting in his cell, he received a visit from 2 admirers, to whom he offered a photograph and silver rings as mementos, asking them to remember him, a promise they made. As he was placed on the scaffold, he engaged in prayers and hymns, seeking God's acceptance upon his passing. He delivered a lengthy speech recounting his life, attributing much of his confessed crimes to excessive drinking. He emphasized the perils of alcohol, lamenting its role in leading him to his condemned state. After offering a brief prayer seeking forgiveness for his numerous transgressions, the trapdoor opened. Carr did not experience an immediate neck break, but instead underwent a slow strangulation, ultimately leading to his death. Upon the pronouncement of his death by physicians, Carr's body was laid to rest in the local pauper's lot in St. Clairsville. His execution marked the county's first legal implementation of capital punishment. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing by clicking the red subscribe button below. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support means the world to us. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.